Alright, the L.B. Brown house was built in 1892 during the period of Bartow's initial development. It is a good example of frame vernacular construction typical of that period. This house is decorated with intricate millwork and gingerbread. The house has 9 rooms. The Brown house was built by Lawrence Bernard Brown, 1856-1941, who was born into slavery in Wauhua, outside Archer. He moved to DeLynn around 1882, where he built a number of houses. Lawrence moved to Bartow during the 1880s and built a large number of dwellings, one of which was the L.B. Brown house. Lawrence Annabelle, 1882 to 1938. Brown raised seven children here. Lawrence and his wife are buried in the Evergreen Cemetery in Bartow. The house is now owned by the Neighborhood Improvement Corporation of Bartow, Inc. Restoration was complete in 2001 with the cooperation of the City of Bartow, citizens of Bartow, and the Florida Department of State Division of Historical Resources. There's some outbuildings, a well. There's the original driveway. It's my second time going through this. I accidentally wasn't recording the first time. There's that well. There's the other well. Some more of the outbuildings. So frustrating. I went through all that filming. Then I gotta go through it all again. And my battery's getting low. So this is another house he built. You see more land around it. gonna have a tour of this place next week. So I'm just doing the outside for now. There's the front door. There's another thing in the other building. This is most of the outside. Show you the front of that other building. I don't think I really got it too well. Yeah, that's the LB Brown house right there. The outside, at least. I'll get the inside. Actually, I'm going in a couple days on Friday, so then I can film the inside for you guys and gals. This is the back. And like I said, the outbuildings, the outhouse, the other building that they moved here that he helped build. The two wells there, and of course the LB Brown house itself. That's pretty much it. But I'll put the video of this to the outside with the video of the inside when I film it in a couple days. Alright, bye. Gotta be quick because my battery's dying like usual.
Here, take a picture of them with this. I don't want to go down the steps.
Where his workshop office was. Fortunately, that part of the building is no longer here, but it looks like it was a separate building from the house. All that's left is this concrete section. Battery's gonna go soon, so can't really film much more. But I can see the front from a distance. Most of the filming I did it from was close up.
Florida Department of State set out to identify 2,000 individuals who did the most to develop the state of Florida. And after they researched L.B. Brown, they said he was one of the great Floridians, 2,000, one of the 2,000 who did the most to develop the state over the last 150 years. And that award was given by the Florida Department of State. The balusters are all replacement balusters. The columns on this first floor are replacement. The columns and the gingerbread on the second tier are all original. The original balusters were weak and we had to replace those, but the replacements are identical to the original. All the dimensions, the cuts and everything, identical to the original.
Were the old ones kept?
We have pieces of the old ones, yes.
Okay.
And the storage, we do.
Okay.
Yeah. We have pieces of these, pieces of these. Of course, the columns you can see from upstairs. That we have all of that. Yeah. So we did things like put this chicken wire in here because when you get all the school kids through the front, they put their hands through the door, you know, through the screen. And I have an admission. I have to admit there's nothing historical about this air conditioning, okay?
Oh, look how pretty.
On the wall, I use this as an office, so excuse the junkie. I've been doing some research on Abraham Lincoln and so forth. That's a picture of Mrs. and Mr. Brown. Those were actually two separate pictures that we juxtaposed together. I mention that because he was considerably older than his wife, almost 30 years older, which would probably explain that he was 67, 68 when that last child was born.
Yeah, it was change your life, baby.
Yeah, that was more her doing than his, right? Yeah. Give the lady some credit, right? In addition to everything else, L.B. Brown also silvered mirrors, and all of the mirrors that are built into the walls were silvered by Mr. Brown. It was one of his trades, silvering mirrors. Most of the furniture in the house did not belong to the Brown family. When the house became abandoned upon the death of his daughter in 1989, folks came by and just started taking things out of here. Robert lived in New York. So what we did was we acquired furniture just to kind of give it a live-in.
Yeah.
Plus we have local groups. Some of the local groups have meetings in here. Matter of fact, you just missed it, but I just two professors just left from the local college. They were going through some of Mr. Brown's papers for some classroom work that they're doing. This is not normally here. This was a kind of a lab for the two professors that were going over some papers. We do not have a whole lot of Mr. Brown's artifacts, but we have a few things. He repaired umbrellas, and this is the handle to one of his personal umbrellas. If you look at it, it's kind of a pearl and gold. And then this, of course, is his wife's hand mirror. A hand mirror that she... This is about the only thing we have from Annabelle.
That's from Annabelle? Wait.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're gonna, oh, that's so neat. I'm gonna have you in here.
Yeah, I know.
You don't remember all this, so you talk about it.
Shoot the mirror. And then, of course, as I said, he repaired umbrella. This is the handle to his personal umbrella. We also have L.B. Brown's pocket watch, which was manufactured in the 1880s. It has his initials on it, LBB.
Oh, I never get this right.
Got it?
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
And then, of course, it was manufactured in 1880s. And one of those old, we call them railroad watches. You wind it up like that, and it's still running.
It still works. Look at it.
1880s.
It still works.
Isn't that something? Mm-hmm. It has taken a licking, but it keeps on ticking. And then, of course, this is his book of etiquettes. It's a signature, LBB, and his signature is almost in calligraphy. And then, of course,
That's a signature?
you see the date, 1890?
Got to get that. Yes, hang on.
Pretty smooth for a man who never went to school, isn't it?
Yeah, oh, well, I'm going to tell
I'm
you.
sorry, you got it?
Got it.
Okay. And then the other book is the book of etiquettes. I'm sorry, book of Florida law and banking regulation. It's a law book. That one. Okay?
Okay.
This gentleman right here was a friend of L.B. Brown and also one of his employees when he was a younger man, Jack Longwood. Mr. Longwood's great-great-grandson is one of our city commissioners. I pointed out because this is Jack Longwood's branding iron, which can prove that black men were also cattle drivers, that he owned cattle. Jackson C. Longwood. This is his branding iron.
Ouch.
Mr. Longwood, he was a close friend of Mr. Brown. Okay, interesting. I'll point out, especially for the young ladies who come through here. These are some of the canceled checks. These are pictures of the canceled checks. I actually have the canceled checks right in here.
The real ones.
The real one. But what's interesting about this check from 1910 is that it was made out to cash, but it was signed by his wife, Annabelle. It's
Is that
very
okay?
unusual, showing that women having money in the bank back then, especially
Okay.
a black one, was very unusual.
Did you get that?
I got it.
These are just some of his excerpts from some of his papers.
She's pretty.
She is pretty, isn't she?
Yes.
Well, I can see why he would be smitten. This is a memorandum from his Bible. Again, if you read his writing very closely, you can see that he was not formally educated. That he misspelled words like father, but you can understand him very well. Father Peter Brown, last request, June 14, 1885, before he died, before his dad died. He said, I want you to take your mother with you as long as she lives, for I know you will take care of her. And he's going to say, your brother Joe owes me $40. Collect it and give it to your mom. So that's very interesting. He kept notes of all these things. And this is interesting. This is his haircut contract. He contracted with Reverend Lynch the barber, September 19th, I think it was right around 1896, that area. Yeah, 1896. Reverend Lynch are employed to cut my hair every 2 weeks for 52 weeks or 1 year, making 26 haircuts he used to give me for $2.50.
Wow.
So the whole year, haircuts for the whole year was $2.50.
Wow.
You can't even get one now for that price.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then what his son said to me, of course the son was not born then, but he said, I could almost guarantee you that Reverend Lynch came here and cut Dad's hair. He wouldn't have gone to the barber shop shooting the breeze with the boys about the girls and, boy, have you seen that lady? That was not his style. So he had a haircut contract. This is a contract for one of the original rent to own. In other words, he rented a house to a fellow named Ben Knight in 1894. And up in his clause number 1, basically what he's saying, Ben, I'm going to rent you this house for $5 a month. And once your $5 a month totals $45, that's the threshold, $45, I'm going to convert this to a mortgage. So your rent becomes your down payment. At that point, you will no longer pay me $5 a month rent, you're going to pay me $15 a month mortgage. But in clause number 2, he summarized all that and he said, and 8% per annum. So he's calculating interest rate at 8% 1894. And incidentally, the lot was $200, the lot was about 100 by 100, pretty big lot. And the house, I'm going to build you a house, Ben, on that lot for $275. So the whole thing was $475. How about that?
Still, yes. Smart.
And so there's a lot of history there. Let you know how much things cost down here, what rent. Now these are
Here you go.
pretty much the entire Brown's family. The top row, of course, are those two pictures that we juxtaposed together. But this is Mr. and Mrs. Brown in the later years, when you see his wealth is showing now. This was the money man. This was him when he was much younger. This is him probably in his 70s, 60s or 70s. She declared a lot different. The University of South Florida has done a quick windshield study of Mr. Brown's assets. And not in detail, but they said just on what they've looked at, they can testify that he would worth over $500,000 in the 1930s. Wow. So he got to be from nothing to very wealthy. This is his mother, Catherine. She was an Indian. We do not have a picture of his father, Peter Brown, but I understand from his son, his dad looked pretty much like his dad. These are the 7 children of Lawrence and Annabelle Brown. She was a vice principal of a school. He was a principal of a school in Lakeland and so forth. This daughter, Mary, was the only one who had a child, Joe. And Joe had no children.
Yeah.
And when that grandchild died and Robert died 3 years ago, into the Brown family. Okay? So would you like to go upstairs?
Yeah.
Okay.
I gotta take a picture of this. I haven't seen that in a long time. Look.
The transom?
See that? Yes. I'll be right up. Go ahead. I gotta take a closer picture of this. Nope, too far away. Gotta get them all in there. Boy, she was a pretty thing.
Yeah, the pictures come out
Can you
nice when
imagine how pretty she was in person? Okay, you guys go. This old lady takes a little bit to go up.
Take your time. So we don't have the elevator
No,
or the lift.
no, it's okay. I got a bad knee.
Yeah, I understand.
No, oh, that's okay. Hey, 30 years ago, I could run up and down this nothing. Oh, yep. Hang on. You're probably a little older than me.
No, I feel it.
Yeah, I do too.
These tours kind of keep me moving. I'm pretty good. There are 9 rooms in the house all total. In 4 of the 9 rooms, the walls are plastered. The rest of the house is wallpapered, and we kept it that way. We patched up cracks in the walls and replaced the wallpaper. We did not change anything.
Oh, wow.
The stove now. Of the furniture in here, that little table, the rocking chair, and that dresser belonged to the Brown family. The bed did not. Something we acquired. He would not have been able to sleep in that bed anyway because he was 6'4". Brown was a big man. Yeah.
Let me see, this is closet. Well, it's little, but it'll do.
Yeah, okay. Then of course he softened up these corners with these little doodads. I still don't know what they're called. I call them doodads. It comes close to technical. Okay. Yeah. Of course, this is the master bedroom. And in here we have, this is where Annabelle spent her last few years. And according to Robert, his dad gave his mom a lot of space because she was ill. She never really recovered from that last childbirth.
Yeah.
So his dad slept back there because all the kids were grown by then. And his mom slept here. That chair, that little table, and that desk belonged to the Brown family. The bed did not.
Oh, pretty.
And this is access into the attic.
Yeah, I see that.
That's loud.
Have you ever been up there?
Have I been up there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but it's probably about 250 degrees right now.
Oh.
It's a tin roof. It's real hot up there.
Was there anything up there when you first went up there?
Too hot. No, they wouldn't have stored anything up there. It'd been too hot.
And it probably would have been too hard to get up there too, to put things if you wanted
Oh
it.
yeah, it's much too hot. Yeah, one of a tin roof. And back then they didn't insulate these houses, especially in Florida. You didn't have insulation like you have
That
in New
little
York.
pan is pee-pee pan?
Yeah, that's a chamber pot. Yeah,
Okay.
or the slop bucket.
Okay. Okay. Oh, pretty.
Yeah. And then of course you have another bedroom where Robert said his sister slept. Pretty decorative, if you notice these windows and the bullseye above the windows, and there's molding around the fireplace. And these little doodads right here were actually cut from this molding if you look very closely. They were cut on a 45-degree angle and assembled together, but it was made out of this molding. Okay?
And it's all original?
All over there, except the paint. Yeah, everything's original, absolutely. And paint and carpet is not original, but, oh yeah. We do not make any alterations.
Is that an original chair?
No, most of the furniture does not belong to the Brown family.
Okay.
The only alteration we made was in the plumbing and the electrical because of codes and fire and that.
Right.
Okay, we didn't change any. All this hand beveling here is just exactly the way he left it. You're welcome to step out the porch if you like, on the veranda. Right?
Oh, okay.
Take it
Wait
down.
a minute.
Take it down.
This old lady here. Oh, all right. Okay. Oh, thank you. we're up here.
As I said, all of this gingerbread is original. The columns are original. The balusters are replaced. But of course, the floor decking is replacement. You have to replace. The gutters are replacement. And those gutters came from a company out in Minnesota because you couldn't find this kind of gutter in here.
Look how nice this is, though.
Yeah, this of course is the modern fire sprinkler system that we had installed. But this is all original, carved into the wood. And although Robert did not know, I will point out that during the 1890s and turn of the century, there was a lumber mill about a quarter of a mile in the woods to the west of here. And so much of the milling he may have had done at the lumber mill. He built the house, but how much of the milling he did, we don't know. This house over here is one of his original rental houses. It's been stuccoed over. And that was one of his rental houses, a wood frame house.
The pink one?
Yes. He did not build any three-room shotgun houses. All of his houses were little bungalows, had some kind of little that house over there was one of his. It's been stuccoed over with the brick. And that was one of L.B. Brown's rental houses.
Now, the paint color you have outside, was that the paint color he would have had when he lived here, or is
No.
it different?
It's different. It would have been a combination of green and yellow over the years when we peeled back, but the actual combination of what we did. It was white, yellow, green over the years, but it was not the exact combination.
You know, this is good, though, because we're riding around looking for it, and all of a sudden I said, "What's that?" And he said, "That's it. That's it."
And that wall across the front here, and again we speculate, but he no doubt built that wall to protect the foundation of his property. It's hard to see, but the topography of the land slopes to the east. And when it rains, the water comes cascading down. And so he would have built that wall to keep that water from washing out the foundation of his house and the houses he had on the corner. On this corner, he had at least 3 houses that he rented. On this side, he had at least 2 houses that he rented.
So that's his too. Look.
In addition to that house, there were 3 other houses.
3.
Yeah. Oh, he made good use of his property. Oh yeah, he was a capitalist. And I don't mean that in a negative sense.
He was original, downright businessman. Self-taught, like my father. He was self-taught.
Really?
Yes.
What did he do?
He was, after he was a die maker, but he ended up, he learned, he had a 4th grade reading level, that's all. And he ended up working, helped his mother, and he worked, they drove cars when he was 14 years old. And then he went in the service. He was a BAR man in the service. And he just worked all the time. He did construction.
Yeah.
He built bridges. Yeah.
Whatever.
And then he was a die maker as he got older.
Yeah, the steel plant.
Really?
Steel plant.
And the youngsters today don't know anything about
And
working.
he bought stock. And he made money on those.
Yeah, good.
He was a businessman.
Sure.
And he also had a house rental. And he knew how to make money.
And there are yet opportunities out there to be made. The youngsters would just kind of set their mind to it and not look at, hey brother, can you give me a dime?
He always told us get our education, and we did, but he was self-taught. I was proud of Dad.
Yeah.
Mom was a housewife.
Yeah.
She stayed at home and raised us. Yeah. So that those are different days, and now though?
I came from different days. I tell you, I got nieces and nephews born in the 1960s, and I wonder if we came from the same
You were born in
stock.
1906?
No.
Some
Oh,
nieces and nephews who were born in the 1960s and later. Their attitudes are altogether different than mine.
yeah, my father was born 1910.
Then I was 42.
Okay.
War, but yeah.
Yeah, he was a war.
My dad had one arm all his life. My dad married my mom with one arm, so we never knew him to have anything else. And I remember at his funeral, my dad was a very popular city commissioner, spoke Creole and everything. People liked it. There were 9 ministers that wanted to speak, and one of them got up and he said, "How many of you out here?" And the church was packed. Remember this man being handicapped? You ever thought of him being handicapped? My dad did everything. My dad did everything for himself except eat steak with a knife and a fork. He tied his own shoes. He tied his necktie with one hand. He had 9 children.
Yeah, he was.
My mom had to cut his steak. But other than that, he did everything. And I never remember Dad. He would build things. He would take the hammer, pick up a nail, and take the head of that hammer, get that nail started. Now I got nieces and nephews with 2 arms muscular. Brother couldn't give me that back.
Things have changed, and I just wish that was the old ways, and I think it was good.
We need to come back again.
Yes.
Okay, I said that was one of his. That was a railroad bed across the street. One of Florida's historical railroad beds. It came through here. We own that property across the street. The city donated that to us. We have a Elby Brown Heritage Festival every February, second weekend. We close off the street.
We'll have to make sure we stop next
We'll
time.
have to come.
We have hundreds of people.
Get on our website and watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have food. That's our food court. We have food vendors on that lot out there.
Oh, I would love to see that.
Stage in the middle of the street, and we have nice models. The bikini guys. Yeah, but anyhow, okay, we'll do downstairs.
Oh, wait, I feel wonderful. We're up here. This is great. Yep.
Got it?
A lot easier coming up than down. Oh, wait.
Take your
Look at my
time.
leg. This leg is bad. Ooh. One time I'm going to have to have surgery. Okay, thank you. Oh, okay.
Now, was this another bedroom or?
Yeah, but you go in, nothing but storage. Yeah, you're up. There's nothing in there. Go ahead, yeah. Just an
Oh, that's
empty,
another bedroom?
empty room, yeah. that's an
Pretty.
empty room, yeah.
Pretty. Oh. Hey, this is cool. Can't have a bedroom. How come this one's cool?
As the door was closed?
Oh,
Okay, cooler air.
I don't have it now, but these windows,
oh, stain.
this stand window, it's called double hung window. So that stand window comes down, that big one that goes up, it goes up into the wall.
Oh, that's different.
That big window there, yeah.
See, Mom and Dad had a huge door that was stained like that. I miss it. Because we moved to New York. That's beautiful. I love this stuff. I can't do it. I don't want to touch it. You want me to show this?
If you can get it from downstairs, they shoot pretty good from the yard. Can you shoot that stained glass? Or you can get it from out front.
What do you take a picture of this? Oh.
Yeah,
I'm
you
gonna get my glasses.
can get some nice shots. Shots going
Oh,
downstairs.
really? Great.
This 14-inch board here is all hand beveled. Yeah.
Here goes the old lady.
Now, I noticed a few frame things like that on the wall. Why is that like that?
That's when we discovered some of the original wallpaper, we preserved the original wallpaper. What his daughter had done, she had paneled these walls and she did not tear out the old wallpaper. So when we took the wall paneling off, some of the wallpaper was still there, so we preserved it. Okay. You see the wallpaper on the border.
And is that why that one's like that too?
Well, that's not so much the wallpaper. We cut down holes for visitors to see what the interior of the wall looks like.
Okay.
Especially the school kids, construction.
So
And then the other,
kids go through here, right?
yeah, we got a lot of school kids.
Oh, that's good.
And that other wall is plastered, so the kid can see the back side of the plaster, how it locks onto the lamp. This is the dining room. Again, we furnished it according to what Robert said. He remembered his mama had a very formal dining room, and then of course I had a hole cut in this floor. It's not an alligator pit. It's just to show the visitors that the tree stump from the back, the old tree stump that makes up the foundation of the house. There are 18 of those stumps holding it up.
Michael, look how pretty this is. Inside built. Isn't that nice?
Hmm?
Oh.
Yeah, that goes back to 1938. It was not theirs, but I bought this from an antique store, and I actually have the original bill of sale. And of course, the kitchen also was replicated. Mr. Brown's daughter and his family had modernized the kitchen over the years with electric stoves and all that, and we took all that out and quite let Robert kind of give us ideas of what it was set up like, and we acquired this wood burning stove. The smokestack would have been connected.
Coffee grinder.
There you go. And the smoothing iron. And
Yeah. Well, you know, difficult things were, but they did what they had to do.
And this is one of those portables. That's this will be hot while you have another one to arm it. And once that gets cool, you will swap.
Oh, that's neat.
That's that. And then of course this one was a self-heating. See the burner?
Okay.
This was propane gas. Put gas in here, turn it on and light it with a match, and then put the bottom on here. I don't have the bottom. And you adjust the heat. You can really add up some clothes there.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, you know, his kids got to get that old coveralls. Okay. Now, if you had come here in the 1890s, you would be standing on the original back porch, right here.
Oh, so this was really outside.
This was outside. This was because in the 1890s there was no plumbing in Bartow. So he built that bathroom after plumbing became available, sometime after the turn of the century. This was the original back porch and the steps went off that way.
Is this an old icebox?
Yes. This is an ice box.
And this would have been something like you would have used?
Yeah, except it was metal. Yeah, exactly. And they put the ice in here. And on the wall over there, the old ice hook that they used to, on the other side of the wall, that's what the iceman used to bring the blocks of ice in. Ice pit.
Wait, that was their ice box?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what yeah.
And look, they have cast iron skillets.
Yeah.
That's still good today. And all that other stuff. And this is just the ice box. Okay.
That's the original back porch right here, down the steps.
Now, how long did the ice and all this? Can you open? Can I see?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, and that's
Put the
it.
blocks of ice in here, either 25 pounds, 50 pounds, or 75 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. And then that ice, this was like a cooler, as you can see.
Now, and then what else? Where does the water go?
You know, we keep it
Oh,
cool.
I see. On that side.
Keep the food cool.
Okay.
Yes, you might have some other things down here. Whatever that might be.
Can you imagine having
And you would have had like a little hose on the bottom of it that would allow the water to drain right out
catch
onto the
the water?
ground.
Now this one interior, it says note the horsehair fragments. What do you mean by that sign?
When the old guys mixed this, they call it the mud to make this plaster. They would put animal hair in it, typically horsehair in the plaster to make it, when they set it hard, like putting straw in brick, straw and clay. And if you look very closely, you can see some of the animal hair when you broke away that plaster, you can see animal hair in it.
Okay.
It was to give that plaster strength.
And what's that? Is
That's
that?
what a closet.
Closet, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And now toilet, this is not what it used to be?
No.
Okay, yeah, I didn't think so. That's right.
Yeah,
Tub, water.
remember, there was no bathroom here when the house was built.
That's right.
Now, we're not certain exactly what year The bathroom, because it was done before Robert. Robert was born in 1923. He said when he was born, it was already here. But we know it was not original. Now this is the original molding from above one of the windows upstairs. This is the original molding.
When was the house? When did the house get electricity?
When?
About.
Sometime after the turn of the century, 1905. 1910, we're not certain. We're not certain exactly when this house was. But Bartow acquired it around about 1900, the city did. And it probably would have come through most around the white community first before it would have come into this area. We're not certain exactly. The city doesn't have good records on that. Okay? And of course the chamber pot, the slop bucket, would have been answered. Well, this is Mr. Brown's son who lived in Hollis, New York. He died about 3 years ago, Robert. And he would have been entered into the outhouse.
Okay, let me take a picture with son and Michael. He talks about all this. Wait, I gotta get a whole thing. Okay, yep. Oh, okay.
We have when we were school kids, then we tried to fire up their imagination about inventions and all. And obviously, we point out to the youngsters, their great-grandma, my mother, used to use this to wash clothes. But you wash it one piece at a time.
Yes.
If somebody came with the idea, if I manufacture this, I can wash the whole load, right? The particular clothes.
That's right.
And then some grandpa decided, yeah, but if I do this, I can wash. That's why the original washing machine. See that?
Mm-hmm.
Huh? You get it? Mm-hmm. Okay. And so with one stroke, she's washing one. Well, here with one stroke, she's doing the whole load.
Yeah, my father's mother used to do it with glass.
Sure.
And it broke. That's why he went to work.
Now these two outbuildings, were they here when he was alive?
No. Right here was a two-story barn. That's where his barn was. When we came in, there was nothing there. Robert told us that's where the barn was, and so I needed a storage facility, so we built the storage facility where the original barn was, although it was probably about twice that size, and it was two-story. That other barn is also not just a storage barn. This is where they would have boiled clothes for washing. And you use this big spatula to put the clothes on, put it in where the clothes would have been hot.
See, I thought that was cooking.
Now, was this original or is it, we had it later? Okay.
But
They
makes sense.
had one like that.
Makes sense.
In addition to the pump, they also had a bucket well. They had two wells back here. I don't know why, but they did. You have to. You're probably too young to remember. You have to prime the pump.
Yeah, I don't remember those days.
Really? You want to come and pump so he can videotape you?
No, you go pump. Is it on?
Yeah, I'm gonna run out soon now.
Okay.
Hey, pump, boy, pump! You gotta fill the whole bucket, pump! Grandpa be yelling at you. You hungry? You lazy? I tell you.
Is it cold?
That's cool.
Okay, here.
Now, is this original to the house, this part?
That was an original well here, but this was something, you can buy this on the internet now. You can buy these. But we rebuilt this because Robert said there was one here. And of course you have the outhouse.
Outhouse, yes.
The generator's gonna go soon.
Yes.
How about putting this away? We put all that in the storage, in a display barn. One of it run in 1912. And we love the original electrical connections and all that up there, and the telephone connection and so forth and so on. But that would have been built around 1912. Robert said this was an example of one of his father's largest rental houses. About 1,100 square feet, 6 rooms.
Now, about what year was it moved here?
Moved here about 5 years ago. we moved it here and did some restoration. Our restoration on this house was not nearly as careful as the big house. This is not on the National Register. And so because of shortage of money, you know, we left the aluminum windows in and all, because whoever had bought the house had put aluminum windows. If you're restoring it, you have to put wood windows and all. That can be very expensive. Furthermore, we would have to replace the wood floor, but we didn't bother with that. We have a lot of meetings in here for community groups and so
Oh,
forth.
it feels cool though.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, when was this house last lived in about, you think?
Hmm?
When did someone last live in this house right here?
This house was, I would think it would probably been in the early, mid-1990s perhaps. So this is mostly office space and things like that. One of my board members, a lover of Jackie Robinson, he gave me that. It's much too big for anything, but I put it up to keep him happy because he's also a financial contributor. You got to keep your money people happy.
Yeah,
Right?
no, that's nice.
So this is mostly for storage. We use it for storage and whatnot. But it was a rental house at the time. When the school kids come out next week, we take a lot of this stuff and put it outside for my ladies to show these school kids how they used to do different things with quilts and iron and all the different things that they did back then. This would have been the original master bedroom. That, again, I say it's nothing but storage, junk storage thing.
How many tours a year about do you give for the Brown house? How many tours a year?
We don't have that kind of number because so many of the tourists just drive by and take pictures. Hello? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Pretty good. Got some tourists here right now.
Let me get to
Yeah, what's that? When are you going to do that? I've got to go to Lake Wales. When are you going to do that? I can meet you in the morning if you want. Or you want, give me a time. What time you coming over now? Okay, I gotta go to Lake Wales as soon as the visitors leave. Okay, okay. All right. Indeed, bye-bye. So this is just storage stuff here.
I have one like that.
Washing machine.
Now, what was the purpose?
Sewing machine.
So
What was the purpose of the safe? Was it originally here when the house came?
No, the safe, that safe belonged to Tom Burnett. He had a grocery store. This man, that was his safe.
wow.
This is where I keep, I lock up Mr. Brown, the old ledger books and things like that in the vault. But that safe belonged to Tom Burnett.
But it's built right in, right?
But we built, it was not a part of this house.
Okay.
When we were restoring the house, before we closed in the back porch, we brought the safe in here.
Okay.
Then we put it here because that was one of the strongest part of the floor. That
Wow.
safe was immensely heavy. This used to be an open back porch. Where you used to wash clothes in there. We closed it in and all of them for storage. And before we closed it in, we brought the safe in.
Oh, so that's the other half of it.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
safe.
It's a lot bigger than I thought.
Yeah.
We brought it in before we closed this. Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of house here for, you know, Michael, we've seen some houses that look little and they're huge inside.
Now this was added. Now this bathroom wasn't here.
Okay.
This was an open back porch.
Okay.
We closed this in for storage and we make our handicap. See, that's my handicap ramp right here for come in.
Oh,
People want to
okay.
come in during the festival or whatever else. You can't come up the steps.
Okay. Good.
Okay.
Yes, especially you got the kids.
Yeah. People
Yeah, this looks nice. Wow.
But it's still a pretty big house, pretty nice.
Yes.
In our living room, you got an archway in there that,
Look how nice. A lot of house. I wouldn't think it was this big. Mm-mm. I love the structure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's amazing how houses can be built and look so big on the inside.
yeah.